Playing the Misfit Heroes podcast.
What up, Misfits? Welcome to the Misfit Heroes podcast. My name is Chris, and together we are going on a journey. Now, Misfits, as they say before every good UFC match, it's time. It's time! Another year has passed, and if you're new here, every January I do what I call the State of the Podcast address, explaining where I've been, where I'm at now, and where I plan on going with the podcast. It's a simple recap and a fun way, really, for me to track progress and also for you to play along at home. Now, let's start by wrapping up 2022, and that starts by talking about something that I started all the way back in 2021. The podcast went from audio only to a video podcast on YouTube and Spotify. We finished our first year with 69,785 views on YouTube, which really I thought was just mind-blowing. But that's more people than your average baseball stadium if you fit them all in one place. And although I'm not a big fan of baseball, in part because the ADHD can't keep up, I was blown away when on December 31st, 2022, I hit 400,000 views on YouTube. Now, in last year's State of the Podcast, I'd set a goal of 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we really came close. As of December 31st, subscriber number 1946 showed up. And just because I think it's pretty cool to give shout-outs, the subscriber was Fernando de la Sousa. You may never see this, but hey, thanks a lot, buddy. I really mean it. Truly, Misfits, this means so much to me. I can't thank you enough, and if you haven't already, please, tell your friends. Now, let's talk about some other awesome happenings of 2022. I was invited to speak at a podcast convention back in May of 2022, and I got to meet a ton of podcasters and podcast industry folks, which was just a blast. I also recorded 3 episodes there on site, and then I came home with COVID. But it was a lot of fun. I learned a ton, and in 2023, I intend on passing on a lot of that information down to you all. And that brings me to something I've been thinking about for a while, and I'm going to capitalize on it this year a little bit. People have been asking for some time now about how I do what I do with the podcast and my YouTube channel and all that stuff. A lot of people don't know that everything that goes on in this show is for me. It's a lot of work. It's finding guests, researching them, recording, editing, social media, promoting, managing sponsorships, all that stuff. And it occurred to me, you Misfits might be interested in that too. So, in 2023, I'm going to be doing how-to episodes, like in-depth masterclass type tutorials as to how I do what I do. And maybe you'll follow along. And maybe you'll want to share your insight too. Listen to what this guy Jimmy has to say. It's not like he knows what he's talking about or anything.
If you're in an industry where there are other experts, like just have them teach you what they just spent the last 20 years studying. Yeah. Don't you go on your own 20-year journey. Like just learn from them.
If you want to be involved in this group, there's an email form on my website at www.misfit-heroes.com. Or you can just comment, "I'm in," down below and let me know what you think. I plan on covering everything from the setup and gear that I use to editing tips, software, contact methods, how I reach out, literally everything. And that brings me to you, Misfits. So many of you have reached out asking for help and that you have a passion to share what you know and yourself with the world. And that's the point that I want to make with this. Go do it. It's time. You said you were going to start last week or last month or last year. It's time. Forget about New Year's resolutions. Forget about goals. It's time. Put that foot in the water and let's grow together. Now, you all have been Misfits for a while now. It's now time for you to become heroes. Also this year, I plan on bringing a bunch of great new podcast guests on. I've got episodes lined up with other podcasters, nonprofits, CEOs, and some partners that I know that you're going to want to hear from. We're still sticking to 1 episode every 2 weeks with daily shorts and the latest Frankenstein creation that I've come up with, what I'm calling TLDR episodes, which is just a meat and potatoes version of the podcast for those of you out there that might not have time to listen to an hour-long episode. And look, I've conveniently linked a playlist of those episodes down in the show notes below. Ain't I a stinker? Now, last year, if you were following along, I started a nonprofit that uses the tiny home market as a vessel to end homelessness in times of crisis. There's content coming along with that as well. And I want you to get involved there. If you're interested, I put a special button in that message button on the website I told you about. Hit me up. Let me know if you can help. There's one other thing in the works for 2023, Misfits. It's just a goal at the moment, but I'm excited about it. I want to start touring with the podcast. That's right. I want to come see you. Comment below if you want to see me in your town and where you're talking to me from. Not only will this be a new endeavor and what I'm expecting to be a huge undertaking, it's a new passion project that I'm excited to get off the ground. More on that in the future. That's what I've got in store for you this year, Misfits. It's time for all you out there listening to become part of this community. Maybe you don't want to start a podcast. Maybe you're a fitness coach. Maybe you like accounting. Maybe you like social media. You're a social media superstar. Who knows what your thing is? The truth is, it doesn't matter what you do. It's time for you to share what your passion is with the world. And I want to be here to help you do it. Whew! Just amp myself up. Let's go, Misfits. Thank you so much for listening to the 2023 State of the Podcast address. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below, like this video, and share it with somebody you've been talking to about their goals. And let's make this a year to remember. As always, thank you so much for listening. And if you do nothing else, remember this. Be kind, love one another, and be a hero.